Welkom bij Professional Imaging Live Shoot Theater en de demonstratie van Mr. Tom Krieger. Dus, wat Tom gaat doen is, I will do it in English, Tom, because he's German. So what we're going to do is he's going to show you his creative think process. So some workshops are explaining stuff about lighting or explaining stuff about what to do in Photoshop. This is more like a look inside the mind of a creative professor. Like, what's going on up there? And a lot of people want to know, because normally that keeps closed, right? Because those people normally, they just work. And they work on an image for how long, Tom? 5, 6, 7 hours or days?
I work 10 hours a day.
10 hours?
Yes.
So he's trying to do that in 45 minutes. So that's going to be awesome. Now, because we didn't want to give you an image that was already shot, we thought it would be cool if I would just shoot the image and Tom will retouch my image. So we're going to do that. So we have Sheena, the queen of the jungle. Now the idea is, Sheena, that you stand over there and watch out with that spear. Okay, so I'm going to explain nothing about lighting. The only reason I'm here is because I just love to shoot Sheena with a spear. So I begged for this job. You want flat lighting on her or a little bit from the side?
Just want to have it a little bit from the top side.
Top side?
A little bit more.
A little bit higher up?
Yes, a little bit higher. So because we want to simulate the maybe dusty sunlight situation.
Without grid, with grid?
Oh, you can make it with grid.
Yeah?
It's okay. And from the bottom, maybe up.
Maybe
yes.
A little bit lower angle up.
Yes, so you have to...
And then let me guess, portrait mode.
You're perfect. I know you love portrait mode.
I love portrait mode, but only for you.
This is an insider, I
Don't
think.
laugh. That's the insider joke. Okay, so I'm going to be shooting on RAW and JPEGs, because the JPEGs you see faster. The thing I have to do, of course, is first meter the light. Sorry I'm doing this in English, but I don't want Tom to think that I'm talking about him in a bad way. Jullie weten natuurlijk allemaal dat ik dat wel doe. Want Tom is gewoon hartstikke tof. This is another Tom, sorry. So, Tom is gewoon fantastisch, maar dat ga ik niet vertellen, want dan wordt de lat heel hoog gezegd. It's another Tom, sorry, Tom. We know a lot of people call Tom. So are you ready? Yes. Okay, we're going to meter the light. I'm going to set it up. Sheena, can you look through the grid? Oh, hij staat niet aan. Dan wordt het moeilijk, hè? Ja, oké. Yay, there we go. Kun je door het grid heen kijken? Of moet hij omhoog? Ja, oké. Oké, let's go. Oeps. F8. Okay, F8. So let me remember, portrait mode, lower angle up. He's getting more demands every day. Okay. I'm gonna give him RAW and JPEGs. Okay, lower angle up. Portrait mode. Full body 3/4. 3/4?
Yes. And a full body, please, too.
That's too dark. Let's remove the grid. Weten jullie hoe dat grid eruit moet? Ja. Het moet langere assistentes hebben. Lukt het? Ik zou even hiervoor gaan staan, Bart, anders dan... Doe je hem ook weer omhoog? Jongen, jongen. Echt, hè? Oké. Oh, low angle. Making sure the spear is in. It's very dark. Let's change that a little bit. is moeilijk hè, dat jullie nu niet zien wat ik schiet. Okay, looking nice. Okay. It's the white balance on strobes. Okay, there we go. Almost done, Tom, don't worry. Okay, Sheena, give it to me, baby. There we go. Awesome. Look into the light. Isn't that awesome? Oh, writing to memory card. Writing to memory card. I shot too many. A little bit like that.
Is the feet on it?
No, feet are off. 3/4. Or do you want feet on?
Yes.
Feet on?
Yes.
Okay. Difficult client.
Go down.
Go down. Oh, you. I will go down. No, never mind. There we go.
Photo.
I will give you a shot, Tom. You won't believe.
Okay, okay.
Got it, got it. This is gonna be so cool.
Oh yeah. That's it?
Oh yeah. Okay, there you go, Tom. The stage is all yours.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Tom Krieger.
Hello, everybody. No, 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 no. Please. Not yet. Okay, so the theme here is Sheena, the Queen of the Jungle. I think it's an old comic and movie. So I had an idea to create something African-like, African style, a dusty scene. So I decided to use an elephant photo. This is a stock photography. It's not by my own. And as you saw, I just selected it in a few hours with a quick selection tool. It's not so necessary to be hyper accurate, so that the selection is not very perfect, but for in my case, it's absolutely useful. So as you see before, I make this teeth, I don't know the English word for the Elfenbein we say in German, a little bit larger to make this elephant look more dominant. And I have it on 2 separate layers. And I blend them out and will remove the normal tooth of the elephant. Okay. So that's the first thing I need to do. So now I can use the clone stamp tool or what tool ever to reduce here this elephant teeth. I decide for the stamp tool and I just remove it as fast as I can. So the goal is to let it look like the image at the end, like a painting. And now it works, I think. So I can go to 100% or something like that. Now it's a very large image. So it's a little bit unusual for me to paint and talk. So excuse me when I'm talk to myself, but I talk also to you. And also when I've done a mistake. Okay, this one is okay, so I merge it down, and this one is not okay, so there is a little bit of an edge here. So I take this warp thing here in the transition tool here, so okay. No, not okay. Okay, that one works. Nobody see that. Okay, that's okay. So before and after. All right. Looks like more African because, and male. I want to look him like a male. So now I just make a copy and paste. Copy, go into my file, just start it up with a color range. So this is, I think, a very important part to decide when you go this way to a final image. If you are in Photoshop a little bit familiar, you know that you are, while working on a project, go this way and this way and this way, and it takes time. But in this case, I decided a color range. It looks like this one here. I have always on a separate layer to remind me where I just wanted to go. So you can use it from any photo, from any photograph. If you have some, if you want to make some green landscape, so the green in front of you is a very greenish green, and the green in the far behind is absolutely cyan and gray, but it's the same green. And I often do this reference for me, so to click on some points in the landscape to hold some colors. And it reminds me on the top layer every time which color range I want to use. Okay, so copy and paste. This elephant is quite large, so I need to make it a little bit smaller. And as you can see, this elephant does not fit in this light color range, but I will come up later for that. So for now, I open up some images. I think the last one went quite good. Can you see something? So make it a little bit larger. It's a little bit dark, but it's no problem. You know, Photoshop can make from dark to light and light to dark. For me, it's more often important, otherwise, if you start this project, so you know what you have in mind, and you communicate to the model and say what she should do. So be angry, be friendly, be beauty, something, whatever. So this was a very short cut here. So model came to the stage, did some shot, and I didn't communicate with the model. So she don't know me, I don't know her. That's not a good starting point. But in this case, it will be okay. So now I have to decide for one image which will fit in this dramatic scene. She's often in her hair. I think it's not so good. And the banana looks not very serious, or is not a banana. I have to remove it and build in a skull or something like that. Okay, so these were the shots. So I can go through and you all applause for the most best. No, sorry. What do you think? Maybe with a R or O, this is very nice or very not so nice. Oh, I just hear one O. This is not good. Okay. No R and O here. So not with the finger in her hair. I think it doesn't fit. I use one of the first. Oh, this looks... I think it's okay. This is elegant and she's the queen. Should I took her? Okay. So I open up and I need to select her. Okay, so for this arrow here, I just need a path. Oh, this is so huge file. It's so beautiful large, really. I just make a quick selection here. Quick, not with the quick selection tool, but quick with my hand here on the screen. Please excuse me if it's not so perfect, because of the time window we have here. We want to end up with a final image, but not with a final perfect image. So as Frank said, if you want to make something like this, you need to work on it maybe a few hours, a few days. So I mentioned before on the Adobe stage, some jobs took me about a month. It depends on the project on which you are. And if this was a cover, would be a cover illustration or something like that, a movie poster or such a thing, I would think about 3 days if it's perfect. And it's often important if the client asks for the price. So as an illustrator or photo illustrator, I have always in my mind how long would it take and what does the client do with it. Okay, as you can see, I run around here. I just click and drag a little bit. And I just go this arrow, I think was here. So for the hair, I take another technique. Can you see what I'm doing? It's quite dark in this area, but on my screen too. Okay, so let's say it's a very dusty scene, so that excuse something what we do. Just paint dust over it. Okay, so now there are many ways to separate this figure from the background. If I would do an own shooting, so I would decide to bring more contrast to the background. So there are possibly other techniques maybe in the channels to separate her from the background. But in this case, I walk around with the path tool. Okay. Is anyone familiar with the path tool here? There were years I hated this tool because I didn't understand what it does. But now it's so good to use. So okay, in this area here, I think take her shadows. So I just click around. We'll make millions of clicks. Or click and drag, click and drag. And while I'm drag, I can see where I go. Okay, so I press Command key and move around this next path. And if you have this one here, clicked the rubber band, so you can see where you ended up next. Okay, sometimes it's very useful, so I let it on. Okay. This is more often the part in the video training when I do those on video trainings, when I make a cut and come in and said, okay, the pass is ready. So this is the part where you can end up with self-taught, because you just make the path, nothing else. Okay, if you do something like this, it's always needful to go a little bit within the model, in the shape of the model, okay? And now is a little bit different part here. I'll zoom a little bit out while off on the path, that's no problem, and go a little bit more around her hair. So because the hair is for another technique. Okay, so I zoom in and go around her shoulder. This is a painful thing when you select it. It doesn't end up. Okay, so here we are now for this selection. I just make a selection and make a separate layer, make a mask, and with the same click I use a solid color, maybe in this case something like grayish, and pull it under. So now I see my selection, and here on the bottom is another area. So I just use this pen tool again. The shadow and the parts in the shadow are a little bit different. I need to lighten it up later to separate the shadows. Stop, the last one was not good. The Control Z doesn't work here, it's crazy. So you can hold Alt, and when you hold Alt, it will come to the starting point and not with a little curve if you have the rubber activated, the rubber band or what it's called. Okay, so make selection, all right, go into the mask, fill the mask with black, and it's gone. So now this area is a little bit difficult for me. So by now I go into the adjustments and make it very light. Why? Because I can see where I am. And now I'm a little bit more precise. I have just in mind that it will be later on a little bit dusty in this area, so not too precise. Okay, whoopa, where does he go? So, okay, I start here and go on. So it's quite a challenge to do something in such a short time. Okay, that works. Close that pass, make a selection, go into the mask, fill the mask with black, with background. And that's it for the first thing. Just look how it looks. Not perfect, very good. So for now on, I go into this area here. This might be a little bit difficult to select the hair. So I go into the channels and I'm searching for the channel with the most contrast. The contrast between the hair and the background. And as you can see on the left side, there are some light areas, and on the back side in the shadows, the hairs are black. So first I concentrate on the dark side. Oops. So I just think the blue channel is it. So I copy the channel, and now on this channel I can use it as a mask. I think about this is a mask, and just want to darken up the dark tones and lighten up the light tones. Something went wrong. Just a minute. Okay. So now I'm on the just reduce. So okay. Once again. Okay. So I just concentrate on this area, nothing else. Just this area is important for me to look and imagine that this will be a mask. Not a perfect mask, but a mask. Okay. So for now on, I use the dodge, color and dodge and burn tool. So, and lighten up the midtones with an exposure around 40 maybe. It's very spontaneous because I didn't test it before. So I'm just on the model layer. It doesn't matter what the background says here. I just want to lighten up the midtones. Okay? And I just want to darken the shadows. Whoops. So. And I just concentrate on this area here. Okay. So just for you to show the techniques. This technique mostly worked very good for separating hairs. To just go into the channels, look for the channel with the highest contrast, push that contrast. So at the end, you need to have the black areas and the white areas and the smooth areas of the single hairs. Most of the time it works very well. So in this case, it's sometimes a little bit different here because it's no really light hair area and black, dark black background or otherwise. In this case, it's a little bit different. So I click in this icon, go into my layers, and fill this layer or paint in this mask with white, with black, sorry, to remove this. So foreground color black. So, and as you can see, it nearly works in this area. Okay, so just in case for you, as you can see here, so this was the area which was important. It's not really perfect, but we need to run on, so I decided to paint in this mask with a smooth brush. And while you are in a mask, you can also change the foreground to background color with the X with the key X, as you can see here. So you can always bring the hair or the background back with the white and switch over. But in this case, I think I do it manually because I'm very much faster. And it still works for me. Okay. This is not a beauty shot and a perfect cover illustration or cover photography where you need to see every single hair. It's not. Otherwise, there is a possible to paint hair in it, which I often use with special hair brushes. So now I decide to make a path for this area, fill it with black. So, and separate this hair here a little bit. Okay, so while it is a very large file, you can lost in the details. But this is not what I want here. So I decide to make a selection. And for now, I just want to look how it looks like. So just apply layer mask, make a copy, and go into the Sheena and throw it in. So, no, this was the other copy. So this selected, copy, and paste. Yeah. Okay, very dark, no problem. So now it's very important to find the right horizon and the point where the photographer starts this photo. So as you remember, it was right in this area here. And this has to be fit with the elephant in the background. So I just reduce the opacity just to see how it works. Go to that Sheena thing. Okay. I think the elephant was photographed in this height. So this could fit. So, okay, I prepared a little bit before because this is an old overpainting from a photo I did. And I love the colors and the tones and the very reduced contrast. So this might be my reference. And I wanted to have the lion behind her and the elephant. Okay. So, and this is often useful to use something what you have in mind as a reference and throw it in a separate layer so that you follow this path what you have in mind. Okay, so this work on. For now, I just go to the elephant now. And wanted to have his shadows in this purple tone. Bring up the opacity. And there are many ways to do that. So maybe we can go again into the channel. So as you can see here, this is the red channel. Just look at his shadows. And I think the blue channel might be a good channel. So I've tested it before. So now I need to push a little bit the contrast. And I just think about the shadows. The shadows needs to be a little bit purple. And I just want to have the purple color right there where the black tones are. Okay? So I click with Command in the icon, go into my layers, and open up the solid color and select this color which I prefer. Okay, so make a clipping mask with hold Alt key. It always clipped this thing with the layer underneath and switch over to color. And now I see it's on this area too, so I have to reduce it a little bit because I make it more contrasty. Does not work, okay. Because I'm in color, so this is the mask where it works, okay? So if I have that, I can hold another solid color and does not want to choose, sorry. Otherwise, another solid color, and I prefer to use the warmer tone, maybe. Clipping mask, and with Control, with hold Alt key, I can throw in the mask in this layer, and with Control, with Command E, I invert the mask if activated. So otherwise, this one. Okay, so this is for the shadows. So now, as you can see here, white let it on the image, on the figure, and black reveals. So I switch this one, go to color, and now it's a little bit better for me. Okay, so as you can see, I hope you can see on this screen, the shadows comes a little bit more purple. This is my tone here, which I prefer. It's a little bit too dark, but the next step to get it more lighter. Okay, this one I make a little bit lighten. No, not greenish. Maybe that. Okay, so now I merge down and take another solid color, and I choose nearly white. Clipping mask and reduce the opacity just to find the right contrast, because it should be a dusty scene. And now it's a point where the lion comes in, because he is my reference for the contrast. And I just wanted to have the elephant behind the lion, so there is less contrast. Okay, maybe that one. That's fine. Command E and ready to go. For this one, I make a hue and saturation adjustment. And just go a little bit down with the saturation, a little bit high with the lightness, and go to soft light. This brings in a little bit more contrast, but a soft contrast. As you can see, it's too much, so I reduce the opacity a little bit. Should work. Okay. Just merge it down. Okay, so what can I do? I have a model. Okay. So there are many possibilities to make light adjustments on her. Maybe I decide for just the levels. And I did nothing with the levels. I just hold it on and go to the adjustments here and say not soft light and say screen. And as you can see, it brings a lot. And I lighten up the midtones and should lighten up the dark tones so that there's no black in it. So I reduce the black here on the bottom, as you see. But she needs to work on, I need to work on her colors too. Okay. Maybe this way. So I bring him up and make a mask for the lion, a mask for her. And you can see I often switch from background to foreground, from foreground to background. So this is not so important to go strictly step by step from foreground to background. In this case, it's useful to play around, and I wanted to have the elephant behind the scene, so I decided to use a cloud brush to make it dustier. Reduce the opacity a little bit to make it just like a dusty scene. The elephant needs to be more warm, just color balance, a little bit more red and yellow. Okay, I like it more. And now she comes in, and I just do some adjustments I did before. Wrong layer on her, that's it. Choose color. Reduce the opacity. Okay, so I'm on her level, and I'm go into the channels and search for the contrast channel. Just want a selection of her dark tones in the shadows, as you see before. It's more often the same process. Click in the icon, go into the layer, so, and fill it up with black. Yes. So, want to see it, let you more see it. Cannot see that enough. I use color. Okay. So before and after, I don't know if you see that. It's a slightly effect. If it's not hard enough, so you can go to the levels and make it a little bit harder. Okay, so throw it in. And she needs to have a mask too. So as I said, I just want to have her standing there on a dusty ground. That's it for the first. And maybe she's a little bit too great, too large for this image. Just want to bring her down. So there is more dimension in it. Maybe that. So for now, she has a very light area here in her face, so this is not so good. So I can choose a solid foreground color. Like this color here. Oops, like this color. A clipping mask. And go to lighten. Go down with the opacity. So always in mind that this should be a dusty scene. It might work. So things in the foreground should be a little bit darker. So I paint in this mask. Okay. So I just make here on the bottom a new layer and paint in with some brushes, some texture of that underground. I prefer to choose a color from the lion. So just bring in some texture and dust and scratches and so on. Okay. Not too much. So now I decided the eraser tool with cloud structure to reduce this effect a little bit. Okay. Maybe the lion is a little bit dominant here. So it's very important to look at the right perspective and the right placement here for this. I think this is much more better. So it lets more space for the lion and the scene. More left is too much more outside. So if the teeth come around her, it might be good. She stand a little bit in the foreground, not on the same level as the lion do. Get a little bit darker. This arrow fits very well, I think. Reduce a little bit the opacity from this dusty adjustment. Maybe that. So, just in case, how much time do I have? I think 5 minutes or so. So I go away from this one here. So now I want to show you a cool technique to paint sun in an image. This is not ready, okay, I know that. But, okay, I paint the sun at least. So just paint a little bit of structure here in the foreground. So I open up a new blank layer, go to my brushes, open up my brushes, go to my brushes. These are not my own brushes. I downloaded it from Rate Southern, its name. You can Google for it. There are so many artists out there who have brilliant brush packs, especially this one here. I often use it and I love it really. And it's for free. What is it? Okay. So 5 minutes, you heard it. This is bad soap to paint so fast. Okay, so I bring in here some texture, maybe from the foreground. I just test a little bit the foliage here, the structure. I just want to say, hey, this is in Africa. Okay, this might be more in Africa if there was something in the background, but I don't have much time for that. So the typical trees, maybe, the typical Kilimanjaro mountain, something what makes it more African is maybe important. But I think it's okay. So I made it a little bit dark in here, so we have more space for that. And okay, so by now I can hit Shift, Alt, Command, and E to bring all areas together. And for now, maybe I can choose. No, I just wanted to show you the sunlight effect, okay? So this is a cool technique. Okay, use a blank layer, the foreground color white, use the normal round Photoshop easy peasy brush, and make it big, like that maybe. Maybe the opacity a little bit higher. So, and now change the blend mode to color Dutch. Go into the adjustments, use saturation, activate it just for this layer underneath, and go in this adjustment and click colorize, okay? So now you can bring the slider a little bit to the darker area, and you can choose here on the U slider the color which you want. So maybe this one. Reduce the opacity, and now reduce from this white dot what you made a little bit the opacity. So this technique works absolutely brilliant if you have a cloudy sky and you want to bring in a light atmosphere like a shiny sun or sunlit through the clouds. This is absolutely brilliant, really. Just test it out. So in this case, there is nothing like cloudy sky. Bring a little bit down the opacity so you maybe think about what there is. Okay, I make it for the last step here a little bit dustier with my lovely cloud brush. I point some colors here and bring in some texture, just slightly. No, it's underneath. I just merged all layers, so I need to go up. And I just want to bring in some texture here to make it a little bit more atmosphere. Okay? So now you can, in this case, you can make it more dusty and scratchy and bring in some more landscape in it, and so on and so on and so on. But I think in this less time, it's quite nice for me, or change a little bit the format, and that's it. Thank you very much.